So the big question is, what is the motivation to incorporate? Why go there if it's going to cost us more money?
A few years ago, I was giving an apple talk on Bowen Island to a group of just ordinary people interested in apple trees and growing. And when they heard that Salt Spring was going to incorporate, or think about incorporating, to a one, every person in the room said, "Are you crazy? Our taxes have gone up and our roads are terrible." So that's the first thing. There also has been a problem since then in that a big developer came in and developed a whole chunk of Bowen Island, and there's been no control over that.
There's huge sums of money to be made by land development on this island. So becoming a municipality is all about land use zoning.
What we have here is special and it's worth preserving. And I think the fact that it was done under the current system is something to be mindful of. Under the Islands Trust, the CRD, and some local participation, Salt Springers have managed to create a wonderful place to live. And I think it's important to preserve that.
When I came here, I didn't realize it, but I was here because of the Islands Trust. I was here because they had a mantra, a mandate, if you will, to preserve and protect. And that's what we got. We're preserved and we're protected. We're like no other place that I know of.
84% of the locally elected leaders surveyed for Who's Picking Up the Tab said federal and provincial downloading of costs onto local governments is a major problem for their community. What kind of control is that?
Municipalities have the authority to borrow money without taxpayer approval. That is not possible under the current rural system.
What we're left with is continuing to under-maintain our roads and a massive shortfall of over $15 million at a time when road conditions and the deterioration of the roads and the cost to repair them will increase exponentially during that time. So the liability that we're faced with in 5 or 10 or 20 years is massive.
There's only one reason that we have all these things, and that is the ability to control zoning. So when you look at the incorporation prospect, it means that they're going to take the zoning and the land use planning out of the Islands Trust and put it with a group of people that will invariably be pressured into changing the zoning from 5-acre rural lots down to urban zoning. That's what happens.
I want to be able to grow up in a world that still looks like this. And I'm worried. Before incorporation even came up, I was going to school worrying about the day that Salt Spring would be developed, and this just feels too much like a step in that direction.
The reason we have this kind of community, the reason we have this environment we have on the island is because of the Islands Trust. And I know there has been relentless pressure to develop the island, and it was one of the reasons the trust was formed in the first place in 1974, because of the threat of overdevelopment or even inappropriate development, which was already happening in the trust area. So it has been important that we have that mandate of the Islands Trust, this provincial mandate, to preserve and protect the island.
The pro side has said that we shouldn't worry because the municipality will still be bound, they say, by the mandate of the trust. Legally, that is not correct.
Salt Spring has been incredibly successful in getting grants from senior governments. So I did a rough estimate of the grants for a number of those various things, some of which I had some direct involvement in. And since 2001, Salt Spring has received over $60 million in grants from senior governments, that would be regional district, the province, and the federal government, to achieve a number of the things that I've just mentioned. That's a record that's unparalleled.
I've built a home, started a business, raised a family, and done all those things without any problems with regards to our local governance. So when I'm hearing all these people saying negative things about what's going on, I guess my frame of reference is I don't understand exactly what the problem is, because I've been able to live a full and wonderful life here for 20 years.
This culture of interdependence would change. we would have the mayor and the municipal council to go to when we had problems. And then they'd send us to this department and that staff person, and bureaucracy sets in.
Incorporation tends to increase the administration and the size. Government tends to grow.
And over time, you lose the natural beauty, you lose the artistic community, you lose the agricultural community, and you end up with a satellite suburb of Victoria and Vancouver.
As a taxpayer, when I consider the impact of increased development on our quality of life, the impact on our roads, the impact on our parking, the impact on our hospital, the impact on the environment, it is something that I think we want to avoid.
People on Bowen are unhappy with the current state of their roads. I wondered what's going on now, and I was on a forum and there was a whole bunch of homeowners and they were saying that their roads are terrible. They're in worse condition now than they were prior to incorporation.
Money from the provincial government seems to come and go, and I don't like the fact that we are going to predicate our whole future on the idea that we're going to just get bags of money from the provincial government whenever we ask for it.
I want us to work together to make our current form of governance better, not risk throwing that away for the benefit of few people. Let's create a form of governance, let's support a form of governance that deals with local issues, but is also connected to the bigger picture, to the other islands, and to the bigger things that are going on in this world. That's actually what the Islands Trust does, and that's what we need to support, making it better, not abandon it.
And go learn about our road system, because it is a massive tax liability, and our provincial government would love to offload that for Salt Spring taxpayers. So I want you to learn about how our taxes would go up, farm status and tax breaks for farmers would decrease. I want you to go learn about how overdevelopment will happen, and it's not just going to be the environmentally conscious nature of Islanders that's going to stave that off. It will happen over time.
Much better to help our current system evolve than to opt for a municipal model. I will be voting no on September the 9th.
Positively, no.
We're going to take away a lot of the unique charm that exists on Salt Spring. This island will change.
I am convinced that incorporation is not good for the island, it's not in our best interests, and I will be voting no for incorporation when the referendum comes up in September.
I believe that the culture on Salt Spring would be different under a municipal government.
The best path to a sustainable future for Salt Spring is for us to vote no on September the 9th.
That is what is at risk, and that's why we have to say no.
So at the end of the day, we don't have enough water, and I don't think people are going to like parking meters. I don't think incorporation's that good of an idea.
I am against incorporation. I'm going to be voting no.
On September 9th, I will be voting no.
We have a really delicate ecosystem here. We need to protect it. And pretty much that's why I want to vote no.
We can improve governance under the current system in a number of ways without taking on those financial risks, without weakening the trust. And for all these reasons, I'm going to be voting no on September 9th.